the Minister of Transportation, Mr. Rotimi Amaechi, who joins us now on the program. A few days ago, as you're aware, some Nigerians were stranded in the middle of nowhere for several hours on the Abuja-Kaduna rail locomotives, which broke down. The minister apologized for the technical issue, which left the passengers in some security situation and frustrated. Tonight, the Minister of Transportation, Rotimi Amaechi, joins us on the program. But before we get into that matter, let's talk about the federal government and the South-South meeting in Port Harcourt during the week. Honorable Minister, thank you so much for joining us tonight. What happened? You were billed to attend that meeting in Port Harcourt. We understand that you were in town. What stopped you from attending that meeting?
I was at the meeting. I don't know what you mean by I wasn't at the meeting. I was there. I arrived at the airport. I joined the bus that took us to Government House. The difference was the bus did not go to the meeting venue. The bus rather went to the governor's house. And I went to the meeting venue. When they didn't come, I left.
So, I mean, when you say you attended, because I looked through the videos, I didn't find you in that meeting in the forum. So because of the government house, you were not able to be in that forum, is it?
I can't hear you, Shemun. I can't hear you.
So the point I'm making is that you said you were there, but I couldn't find. I tried to look for you because I know you were supposed to be part of the federal government delegation as a leader of the South-South region, but I couldn't find you in the video.
Shem, we don't have to rely on the video now. Is the government denying that I was there? I was there. I was present. I was at the venue of the meeting. And the only difference was I refused to join them at home. They went to the house of the governor, and I went to somewhere else. I went to the venue of the meeting.
Okay, so let me get your view. Your friend, the River State Governor, Governor Wike, said the president will set the country on fire if he does not implement some of the requests voiced by the leaders during the South-South leaders meeting with the presidential delegation headed by the Chief of Staff, Professor Ibrahim Gambari.
Why do one thing about governorship is that you have to differentiate between the ages that a child is allowed to be a governor. When you have young men who, though by age they are qualified by law, but by action and what they say, they don't look like governors. You want me to reply to that? I won't talk to that. I won't. Let him put the country on fire. Let us see how it goes.
You probably do not get the angle. The angle is saying that should the president not implement the demands from the South-South leaders, it might be putting the country on fire.
I am saying that you also did not understand me. That's not something that should come out of the mouth of a governor. It shouldn't come out of the mouth of a governor. What to ask you? One question to ask you is: don't forget that the President Goodluck Jonathan ran under the auspices of South-South presidency, in which everything said about governance was we'll have to go for restructuring, we'll have to go for resource control, and he was there for 6 years. The resources were not controlled, neither were they handed over to the South-South. It's much more than that. I don't think a governor or a people, I come from South-South. While I agree completely that we are not fairly treated, I don't also agree that anybody will set the country on fire. No president should act on such threats. And don't take me to such questions. I prefer to ignore such questions because a more mature person won't make those kind of comments.
So you don't see any danger if the president is not implementing some of the demands?
I don't see any. Don't forget what I just said now. I just said that while I agree with our people that it's important that they recognize some of these things, some of these demands, I'm also saying that we had the opportunity of being president for 6 years. We should have implemented these demands by ourselves. We didn't do it. We didn't implement it. Well, I don't subscribe to the fact that the president shouldn't address them, but I'm saying that the president can't address them under threats.
Okay, let's take a break. And when we come back, the Minister of Transportation will be speaking with us on the state of the rails in Nigeria and the update of work in some construction site. Don't forget also that we still have the former governor of Cross River State, Donald Duke, with us. Stay with us, everyone. We'll be right back. Thank you so much, everyone, for staying with us. Let's get back to the conversation with the Minister of Transportation, Rotimi Amaechi, who is in our Abuja studio. Thank you so much, Honorable Minister, for your time tonight. Of course, we will still get, after the conversation with the Minister, we'll get back to Governor Donald Duke in Calabar. Let me get your view, especially because you represented the federal government to that meeting of the South-South. It does look like the president realized that there is a need to connect with the people. There's been some experts have said there seems to be some disconnect between the people and the government. But what is the president telling you as one of his ministers in fixing some of these loopholes?
The position of the government, as directed by the president, is that it's important that we approach our different constituencies. Every minister is expected to come from a constituency. And so, basically, the directive was, look, what the NSAS seem to have thrown up is the fact that there was a need for the government to not just listen to the young men and women who participated in the NSAS, but also see how to address some of the issues and convey to the people that the government is not just sitting down. There are a lot of things that that we're doing that it appears that are not properly communicated. Take, for instance, the colleague of mine, the Honorable Minister of State for Labour, who read out what the contracts that the president has awarded as pertaining to railway, did mention that there is a contract awarded by the federal government for the construction of a new deep sea port in Bonny, with a rail line from Bonny to Port Harcourt and from Port Harcourt to Maiduguri, going through Aba, Umuahia, Enugu, Aba. We also went to Were, up to Makurdi, to Maiduguri, to Gashua and Yobe. That's the matter in Yobe State. That's as pertains to railway. He also mentioned the fact that there will be a university that will be built in Port Harcourt. They are also trying to develop an industrial park. All those contracts have been awarded. What we're doing is that we're seeking for funds, loans to construct those projects. So I think what he felt was that was an opportunity for us to communicate some of the things we were doing and also listen to our constituents and convey the grievances of our constituents to government, as well as we conveying what we have done to the people we represent.
Okay, so let me then take you to the matter of rail that you mentioned, or perhaps we need you also to clarify, because if Nigeria is part of the conversation in that meeting is the issue of restructuring, does that resonate with the president, and is he handling it with some urgency that a lot of people think it requires?
There's this comment a friend of mine made the other day. Why is it that it's only when the president comes from the north that we talk about restructuring? I completely agree that the injustices that have been meted to as many places as possible be addressed. I completely agree with that. Somehow, whatever you call it, whether you call it restructuring or you call it whatever name you like, you give it. But don't forget, as a country, we can't afford not to go together as one country. We can't afford. I believe that it's important we listen to the Southeast, we listen to the Igbos. I believe that it's important we listen to the South-South. I believe that it's also important to listen to the people in the North Central. We just really need to not just talk, to implement some of the things that we have had conversation about. But I continue to argue, and I'm sure a lot of people won't like this argument. We had opportunity of being president under President Obasanjo. We didn't restructure. Neither did we take any of those major decisions. And by the time the Nigerian people helped to elect President Goodluck Jonathan, what we are clamoring for in the South-South was for resource control. And we had a president from the South-South who stayed in the office for 6 years and nothing changed. Even as a governor then, we had applied for, what do you call it? We had applied that there should be a change in the revenue formula, and it wasn't also addressed by the government. So why is it that it takes time? It's only when we are not empowered that we raise this issue of restructuring. When we're empowered, we're not able to address it. Have we as a people in the South and Southeast asked ourselves this question? Why are they not courageous enough when they have opportunity of being in government to take that decision? Why must it be only when people who are not from our own region get to power that we begin to ask for resource control, or begin to ask for restructuring? We must learn to address those injustices. We must address them and serve those who have put us in power, because the people are hungry. The people are. That's one thing I wanted to add when Governor Duke was speaking. That it's not essentially just about intelligence and recruitment in police. It's also about the fact that people are hungry in the community, and they've been hungry for a very long time. So when you talk about NSAS is not just about police brutality alone. It's about the fact that the elites, you and I, Shehu, you and I, have mismanaged
I don't
our
belong
resources.
into that.
We've not managed it well, and the people are grumbling. Yes.
I don't belong to that class
hunger,
where you
we
belong.
can't continue to look at them. And don't forget, when I was a governor, I predicted that this kind of thing will happen. Because what I was seeing then, and don't forget, Buhari wasn't president by then, was the situation where the elites were sharing the resources that were available to Nigerians and impoverishing the poor further. And I had said in that interview I had with, I think it was Showere in New York, I said that we get to a point where these people will say, look, we are tired of your stealing. Look, these elites, we are tired of your stealing. And they will react. And when they react, I just predict that even both the police and the army will be on the run. And that's what you saw in NSAS. NSAS wasn't even comprehensive enough, if you look at it. But the way you have seen it, you have looked at NSAS only under President Buhari's government. You've not looked at it, the fact that all these things were there before we came into power. The hunger was there. The economy has started crashing. The dollar was more than 150 to going to 200 before we took over. The economy had, because of, the oil price was at 28 at the last budget. So things are a bit difficult for the people. And we must, as a country, address all this comprehensively.
So that's the question I was asking. So you just painted a very gloomy picture now. So the question is, will President Buhari fix those problems that surround the matter of restructuring? You've said that people don't raise this matter until people from the opposite region are in power. But now that this problem is confronting the Buhari government, those of you who are in government, do you think it is urgent and important to fix it now?
Well, no. One thing that's critical and important to the president is how to reduce poverty. If you reduce poverty, you will reduce agitation. So people are hungry, you address hunger and poverty, and remove this money that these elites are stealing and put it in the hands of the poor. If you're able to create employment, you're able to create. Once you create employment, you create security. If you like, hire as many men as you want to hire that are policemen. You will do nothing until you put food in the hands of people. When you don't create a legitimate economy, the people will create for themselves an illegitimate economy and be able to feed themselves. Because if you don't feed themselves, they will die. They will die. So if to you, what's important is restructuring. I don't see anything wrong with restructuring, but I'm saying that it's not the most critical problem that we have. The most critical problem we have is that hunger and poverty are breeding insecurity. And before, from Borno and others, you can feed the whole nation. From Benue, you can feed the whole nation. People are not able to go to farm anymore because of banditry. We are facing a different kind of insecurity. When we were in power as governors, the problem we were facing was Boko Haram. Now it's much more than Boko Haram. We need to address those issues.
But are you worried that maybe Nigerians are not seeing it from the government's perspective, how you are tackling some of these problems? Do you, because you've raised the matter that Nigerians are hungry. Are you worried as a minister in the federal government that people may not be seeing what you are doing to fix, especially this issue of insecurity?
Let's deal with these issues. Now, when we came to power, not much more. A lot of things have been done in agriculture, but we improved on it. don't forget, we not only improve on agriculture, we improve on the logistics of moving this produce from the different locations to the market. So that's why you can talk about railways. We improved on power. We improved on the roads. We may not have done the best because we don't just have the resources, but we are certainly not sleeping. The president won't allow you as a minister to sleep in your office or sleep at home if you don't fix the problems that are confronting the country as it pertains to your ministry. The president won't do that. But the basic thing is you don't have enough resources to get it to a point where the people will feel that now they have the resources to feed themselves. So what is confronting the government today is not just insecurity alone. It's the fact that we must provide the people an opportunity to be able to create wealth for themselves. The past governments created that opportunity. Maybe they did, but not enough until we inherited it. And we cannot find the solution to these problems in 1 year, in 2 years, in 4 years, or in 8 years. It's a process that will be gradual, that you have to implement. And then as you create wealth, as you create the economic growth, that's how you reduce poverty, that's how you reduce insecurity.
Let me take you to the issues of rail transportation and what happened on the Abuja-Kaduna route. Minister, could it be the fact that the breakdown of the locomotive be a foretaste of what is to come? The incident seems to give some Nigerians concern that this could be a situation in the coming months or years, or if this is happening now, what could then happen in the next 5 to 10 years?
Sean, do you have a car? Do you own a car?
I do own a car.
Has it broken down before?
Not a new car. If you ride a new car, it perhaps will not break down the manner in which a second-hand vehicle and an old vehicle will break down. The concern of Nigerians, especially, I don't know, for those, Minister, maybe I should paint the picture of some of those who were stranded. Yeah.
I'm laughing because whether it is brand new or old, machines are machines. They could break down at any point in time. What you will say is, you believe those social media story. Do we run train by 2 p.m.? Do we run train by 2 p.m.? Somebody said they were out there by 2 p.m. That, what you saw, does it not look like an aircraft? Yes, of course, the train broke down, just like any other machine can break down. But what should be of concern to you is our response. And I continue to tell you, if those things break down in a manner that does not comply with the contract agreement, we'll certainly call the company that supplied it from China and send it back to them. For now, it was even fixed by Nigerian engineers. Are they not running? Is the train not running? It ran yesterday. Since after that day, have we not been running the train? I don't think that you, Shehu, as a journalist, should join the fray of those who just like to escalate rumors. Actually, I don't want to quote.
No, but Minister, is it a rumor that you reacted to? No, Minister, no. Did you also apologize for the fake news? Because you apologized for the breakdown.
I did.
Yes. No. When you said it's a rumor, I'm saying
Shehun,
that the train breakdown.
If you are saying
it's a rumor.
Shehun, if you're talking about breakdown, yes, I apologize for the breakdown of train. I made 2 comments to you now. I first asked you, do you own any car? You said yes. Does the car break down? You said yes. I also asked another thing. Do you think that there will be any train that will break down at 2 p.m.? What are we at 2 a.m.? What are we doing at 2 a.m. In Kaduna? And first and foremost, when people say we expose people to danger of insecurity, there is no coach without enough policemen. There is no time we are applying that road that you won't have enough policemen. You will have enough that will protect people, passengers, and goods. So when you now begin to carry, what I mean by fake news, when you begin to carry information like, oh, we are left at a train station or at listen by 2 a.m. What 2 a.m. for Christ's sake? How is that possible? We have recovery vehicles. We'll just dispatch a recovery vehicle to recover them. But when you join the rumor, what I mean by rumor, when you join the fake news of, oh, we are here by 2 a.m., by 2 a.m. I should be sleeping as a minister for transport, because I'll be worried about the lives of the passengers.
No, nobody, I never mentioned 2 a.m. I was just asking a question. You were the one who brought the matter of 2 a.m. I'm just asking a question about the train that broke down. So what assurance are you giving the Nigerians, Minister, that this is not going to be a foretaste of what could happen in so many years? Do we have those trains that are properly done and that will not be breaking down every now and then? Is there an assurance from you, Minister?
Shehu, when last did this train break down? If you use the word, you use the phrase every now and then. When last did this train break down? So if you buy a coach and buy a locomotive and they break down in 1 full year, you have a breakdown once or twice, then it becomes a foretaste.
Minister, I don't think the debate is about how many times it's broken down. The question is, are you going to be able to give Nigerians the assurance that they are safe when they're on this train? What are you going to be telling them, those who will fly tomorrow or next month or next year?
Haven't you been hearing the story of, oh, this train has been attacked? And we have always said, show me one person that was attacked. Show me just one person that has been attacked. The federal government is responsible enough to ensure that lives and properties on the train are protected. And we have done that successfully. From 2016, Shehun, from 2016, tell your listeners that from 2016, we have hardly breakdowns. And when you talk the way you talk as if it's a regular thing. You wake up tomorrow morning, the train has broken down. Yesterday, it didn't break down. The previous day, it didn't break down. It didn't break down today. But you're talking as if it's a daily affair.
So what assurance can you give us? I'm asking yet again. Do you have any assurance to give to Nigerians?
I refuse to make that comment. I've refused to respond to that because you'll be turning me into God, and I'm not. I worship Christ. So I won't play the God role. The best I can tell you is that we will do everything possible as a federal government that is responsible to its citizens to ensure that we run efficiently and ensure that lives are not attacked.
What update can you give us, Honorable Minister, as regarding the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway in terms of the completion?
I'm not the Minister for Works. Unless you're talking about Lagos-Ibadan Rail, then I can.
The Lagos-Ibadan Rail, I mean.
We're due completion by January. We're almost ready to commission. We should be approaching the president this week.
Okay, so you once said that the Chinese have released 1.6 billion for Lagos-Ibadan Standard Gauge Railway. You said, and I quote you, that we hope that by October they should be able to approve the $5.3 billion for the federal government so that we can commence and complete the construction of Ibadan-Kano Railway. End of quote. Those are your words. Have that fund now been approved and released?
No. Don't forget that I was warning and advised the National Assembly that they should not take this matter to the National Assembly. Since this matter came to the National Assembly, the Chinese have been deferring the release of the loan. So we're waiting for them to approve the loan for us before we can commence construction. We'll soon start work on Ibadan Kano, especially Kano Kaduna, as soon as we get the resources. There are about 3 or 4 projects we're about to commence work on if we get the loans. But I think the quickest of them all will be Kano to Maradi, which it appears that the loan is almost ready to go. After that is the Chinese loan of Kano to Kaduna, and then Ibadan to Abuja. Then there is the one of Boni to Maiduguri, which is $3.020 billion. And then there is the central line. We're all ready to go, just that we have to really seek for the resources, the funds, to get this rail, to get the contractor to go to site and begin to build the rail.
All right, before we go, a quick one, Minister, before we go on our next break. How much in total have Nigeria borrowed under the Buhari administration for railway projects? Can you tell us?
Oh, difficult question to respond to, but I maybe have your breakdown. I think we're doing $1.4 billion in Lagos Ibadan. The rest will be funds coming from the budget. So about in terms of the $2 billion that you're doing in Lagos Ibadan, about $1.4 billion will come from the Chinese loan. and then the remaining $600 million will come from the budget. And we have progressed to a point where I say by January we should have completed and we'll be ready for commissioning. Whenever the president is free to commission the project, we'll be glad to commission it. Then I think that $500 million was borrowed under President Goodluck Jonathan for Kaduna, Abuja. These are the two loans we've taken as far as railway is concerned.
Are you going to be slowing down in borrowings considering the state of the economy, recession, and debt burden?
How does borrowing affect recession?
It does. Minister, are you serious?
Answer that question.
Are you serious, Minister, that it doesn't affect when you borrow money and you're out of funds?
The more money you get in, Shehu, the more money you get into the economy, the more the economy becomes buoyant and is able to exit. The more money you put in the economy, the quicker you exit from recession. That's elementary economics.
Wow. Well, I don't want to get into that debate tonight. We'll go to another break, and I'll get your last few minutes of closing moment with you when we return, Honorable Minister for Transportation, Rotimi Amaechi. Let's say with us on the program tonight, everyone, and we're right back. Don't forget, Governor Donald Duke is also with us. We get our closing moment with the minister when we return. Thank you so much and welcome back to the conversation. Let's get back to the Honorable Minister for Transportation, Rotimi Amaechi, in our Abuja studio. Our concluding moment with you now, Honorable Minister, and this is probably going to be basically politics within the next 1 or 2 minutes. I'd like to ask you, the issue of zoning in the 2023 presidency appears to have enveloped your party, APC. Would your party consider giving the Southeast a chance?
It's a difficult question for me to respond to. I just believe that the zoning which was done in the region of North and South should be respected, just like Fashola said. And I think that should be enough.
So you think it's just fair that it goes to the South, but in the South, is it fair also to allow the Southeast a shot at it?
Why not you allow that decision be made by the party? So we don't get into the controversy of where it goes and where it doesn't go. The party will meet and decide that.
Okay, let me ask you perhaps a direct question about you. Would you be willing, should you be given the opportunity to fly your party's ticket as president?
It's a bit too early to have that conversation. The best conversation to have now is how to be able to deliver on railway, maritime, and all that as it pertains to the responsibility assigned to me by the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
But will you be willing to become Nigeria's president one day?
I've answered that question.
No, you have not.
I have a responsibility as the Minister for Transportation to address the issues concerning transport.
But politically speaking, would you be willing to become president one day? I'm not talking about now. I'm saying one day if you had the opportunity.
Shehu, third time, third answer. The response you will get is, why not allow me complete the responsibility that have been assigned to me by the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria and the people of Nigeria, which is the responsibility of being the Minister for Transportation. There is a huge task to be able to deliver railway in all the 6 zones of the country and also deal with the issue of seaport and maritime activities, especially insecurity in the maritime sector.
All right, on a final note, perhaps I should take you to Port Harcourt, Rivers State. It does look like you and your governor are not on good terms. When are you hoping to have a handshake to Olive Branch, if possible?
So, I don't know what you're talking about. Maybe you're talking about husband and wife. My wife is in Port Harcourt.
All right. Thank you so much, Honorable Minister Rotimi Amaechi, for your time tonight on the program.